Buenos dias. I've been working on the chain plates for a couple days now. So let me show you what's happening here. There are some cracks. I just put a little pressure and bended it, and look how it opened up. I've been cutting and grinding. My dad have all kinds of tools to do this work. I have all the main chain plates already like shaped and grounded. I just have to drill them and then polish them. It's pretty straightforward. I just cut the edges, then rounded it up with a grinder. And my dad has this belt sander, which is pretty cool. So I've been squaring the sides, these sides, for polishing, which is kind of important so it looks nice and finished when I'm polishing it. That little machine made all the work possible. Nítido.
I love my life. 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 None of we don't know where tomorrow might bring, cause the future the hours away. So me I live my life today. Me I live my life today. Yeah, so long me make me talk what I want to talk. Me have enough to say. So me I go live my life today. Me I go live my life today. So everybody else just sing it out. Me love my life. Me love my life. Me love my life. So me I live my life today.
So this is a new chain plates. So I'm marking the center of it, and then we're gonna use the caliper to determine all the distance between for the bolts. And then I'm gonna go to my dad's house, and then we're gonna all drill it all with pilot holes and then with the real holes. So I'm excited. Another thing almost done. Those are 2-inch and those 1.5. And we have the cool little fittings that we have to determine the distance of the center of it, because it's different than like a regular turnbuckle.
So this is our blueprint here on the Westsail manual online. And now we're just marking up where all of the bolt holes go and the eye for the rigging at the top. So okay, so we need a bend at 20 inches. And Nestor's gonna bring these once they're all ready to go to the fabricator, and he's gonna do that bend for us.
He has a giant hydraulic machine for bending stainless, so.
And he's making our forestay tang for us.
He's actually doing the head stay, the back stay tang, and the inner forestay new bracket.
And Nestor's got to go pick that up from him anyway, so he asked him if he brought these chain plates ready to go on Monday morning, if he could drop them off and have them all bent by the afternoon so that Nestor only has to make one trip over there. So that's pretty epic. Alright, so that's the first bolt hole on the bottom. And Nestor and I have decided to not go with carriage bolts on these because we don't have the ability to do a carriage bolt on our own. So we bought some button cap
Also,
bolts.
all the chain plates ends up being in the middle of the main bulkhead. So there's not a way of tightening it like that from the back with the ratchet. With the carriage bolt. So he had already bolts in the center and he had carriage bolts on the lowers.
Right, so it didn't match.
It didn't match.
The lowers had carriage bolts and the main shroud didn't. So now they'll just all have button cap Allen head bolts in there with lock nuts. I think that'll look nice. Everything will match. So there we have 5.37. That's our measurement for the space between these bolts. And that is from the center of the hole here to the center of the next hole. What kind of electric caliper is this, Nestor?
Nico. I got it on Amazon. It was like $20.
Oh, seems to work very well.
Yep.
And then the top hole here is written as 1 inch to the center from the top. This is the one that we need to change because, for instance, in this fitting, it looks like there's plenty of room for 1 inch between the wall here and the hole here. But this is going to have a piece of line in here around this where it attaches. So we need this to have enough room so that this pin can fit through there and through the chain plate. So we're going to change that measurement a little bit. We want to keep as much of it as we can because obviously it's going to be stronger the thicker it is. So Nestor has kind of measured and is pretty sure that with 0.75, 3/4 of an inch, we will be able to make this work with the pin and the line. So probably we want to mark that this is the bend so it doesn't accidentally get drilled anywhere, right? And the bend is how many degrees? 15 degrees.
That's exciting.
So these larger chain plates, the 2-inch ones, are for our lowers and our shrouds. And then we're going to mark up these 4, and these are our whisker and our boomkin.
So this is my dad's shop. This is where I kind of like grew up. My dad has like a little shop that we have done cabinetry and all kinds of things. We have built a plane here, multiple planes. He has all kinds of tools. So we have a drill press and some clamps, and we're gonna do this. This is a really cool center punch that my dad owns. Has a spring. Set it where you want it. And all you have to do instead of banging it with a hammer, press it. And it's a nice dimple for the drill to set. So when you're drilling stainless, you want to use a cobalt drill, very slow speeds, and water instead of oil to cool it. We got some cobalt drill bits for drilling stainless, so kind of setting this clamp. I've been working since early in the morning trying to drill these holes out. It's kind of tricky to be drilling stainless steel, but I think I managed. I've been reading since it has a lot of chrome, it heats up really easily. And it kind of like, you know, you want to melt. So you want to do it at really low speeds, water, and cobalt drill bit. Also, I noticed that if you start the hole with a smaller drill bit that the size that you need, everything goes way better. So I'm very happy how it came out. Started them at 1/4 inch, and some of them are 3/8, and the one on the top for the pin is 1/2 inch. Very happy how the tolerance came out of the bolts that we bought. Very good tolerance, very good fit on the holes.
Beautiful.
The main thing is patience, patience, patience. I have my polishing station right now already. I have a 80 grit flat disc for stainless steel that we're gonna use for taking the, how you call this in English, the burrs.
Yep.
And whatever big nicks that I have. And then we start conditioning with these pads that I learned. And they come in different grits, basically. And that's how you polish stainless steel. That's the plan for today. That's with the 80 grit. You can still see the marks a little bit, but it really conditions it. That's with the first grit of the polishing discs. That's with the second grit. It's starting to show a little more shine and close the pores. So Oh yeah, we get in there. That's the last grid before we polish it with rubbing compound, and it's looking very sharp.
These are looking mighty fine. I mean, that's real shiny. The chain plates being done is huge. Then it's time to install and start splicing, right?
Yeah.
Yes!
Let's get to it!
What's going on in here?
We're trying to get to the chain plates.
So we have all our chain plates made up. Nestor built them from scratch. He bought the stainless stock and drilled them and cut them and polished them, and they look gorgeous. Now we're ready to continue taking off the rest of the chain plates that are on the boat. To do that, we have to empty out every closet on both sides of the boat, essentially. So we're starting with the port side because we can't do both at the same time because it would turn the boat into a total nightmare. So we have the contents of our head locker here all in the bed. And Nestor is trying to get to the 2 bolts that are up in the rail area. Is that what it's called? The gunnel?
So.
Is that what it's called on a West sail? The part that comes up and is finished with the cap rail? Is it the gunnel? Leave a comment below and tell us if it is.
I think so.
It's kind of hard to access the chain plates. We have 2 of the screws and their backing, 2 of the bolts and their backing plates, but above there is 2 more. Out here, we've had these 2 closets cleaned out for the past few weeks because we took one of the chain plates off to make sure that we could inspect it, and that was when we decided that we needed to make all of them. And you can see here there's these 2, and then there's one way up there, and then there's actually another one even further up in that. And then those chain plates fall right on that main bulkhead. It's like this boat is so well put together so that it's easy to take apart, and then there's like
Parts that is like
every once in a while there's like a weird part that's like glued into place or something that you're like, what the heck? I think they spent a lot of time refitting this boat, and they did an amazing job. But I think there are some things that towards the end ended up getting skimped on because you want to get out there and you want to go sailing, and sometimes you have to choose whether you're going to spend a million hours fixing the boat or whether you're going to get out there and actually sail it. So
which is the balance that we're trying to have right now. And
yeah, we're always trying to find that balance, and it's really hard because sailboats are extremely demanding. They want constant love and attention and to have every last penny of yours sunk into it. And people like us who tend to be perfectionists and like things done the right way often find ourselves spending too much time and too much money fixing the boat and not enough time out sailing it and enjoying it. If you like watching people fix their boat, we're the people for you. That's definitely a little wet. We gotta figure out where that's coming from. Oh wow, you can really see the wetness up there. Never good when you find rotting wood on a boat. So we're definitely going to have to clear this whole locker and do a really good inspection, figure out what needs to be fixed and reinforced and where this leak is coming from.
Right now I'm stressed more because it looks like the main bulkhead is rotten.
If the main bulkhead's rotten, this could turn into a huge project. The bulkheads in a boat, for those of you that don't know, are extremely important to the integrity of the hull. Obvious main bulkhead here, which supports our mast and the belly of our widest part of the boat. So Nestor's basically right here on the other side in that closet. How's it looking in there? So this is that main bulkhead, and you can see here that something has been leaking, and this is all rotten, but what is behind here, we're not sure. We're gonna have to take a look at it. Looks like it's a few layers of things.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have to take out all this insulation and figure out where this leak is coming from. I'm wondering if it's not from right here. This is the pump out fitting. That's our deck fitting for our holding tank. That could be leaking. Huh. I'm just trying to look at this. This was just in there like this, right?
Uh-huh.
Because that seems to be
Where the water's coming.
where the water's coming, not necessarily from this corner.
And we have a little rotten wood. This is what's happening with the main bulkhead. And it's actually not that bad.
I don't know if you guys can see in there what he's doing, but that bulkhead has like a sandwich. It looks like it's one large piece of like 3/4 inch marine ply and then 2 smaller pieces of ply on either side of it for aesthetics, not necessarily for strength. So it looks like Nestor is ripping the smaller pieces of ply off because they seem to be the part that's rotten. So as long as this isn't rotten, we're good.
I think I just found what is leaking and ruined this a little bit. It seems like it was this was loose, the fitting for the breather for the holding tank. It looks like you have no bedding or anything. It just came out super easy. It's gonna be totally fine. I'm gonna take all this out and then put some West and maybe tap it to the hole over there, but I think it's gonna be totally fine.
And then we just are gonna have to inspect down here in this corner. Nightmare! So we're just trying to assess this whole situation, and the way the water was leaking down the port hull of the boat, it has gone behind this whole counter and into all the insulation behind there, and we're not really sure what's going on back there, and the holding tank and everything is in that area. So the only way to access it is to remove the head and all the cabinetry and the holding tank. There is our holding tank. It's a huge freaking holding tank. So it's a total crapshoot on the boat right now. We have like the entire bathroom out here and it's wild. Luckily we do have some friends in town right now and they are staying right here close to the boat and they have a spare room. So if we can't get this all back together today and it's a total nightmare aboard, then we have that option, which is kind of nice. So right now what we're doing is taking apart the whole head. We're really just trying to get access behind the holding tank and see what the situation is there. Nestor had pumped the toilet and all the lines dry and then realized he needed to reopened it, just took off the first freaking tube and it was still open and not closed. Poop water exploded out of it and is everywhere. This day just keeps getting better and better and better.
This is where Annabelle really excels in the cleaning department.
Cleaning poop. I'm so glad that's my specialty.
But not
decontamination.
You have a gift for cleaning. It's fine, and all that, you know, all your hoses and all that stuff is gonna be new, baby. The struggle is real.
So we've got all the poop cleaned up, and this is what we got going on in here. What we're trying to do now is access back there and get out the soaking wet insulation. So this is not what we had hoped. We were hoping that when we got that countertop off, there was a space behind the holding tank between the hull of the boat and the holding tank, and there's not really. And the foam that's back there as insulation is definitely wet. To take out the holding tank seems like we essentially have to gut the whole head and rebuild some stuff probably to get it all put back together. The general concern is like what then is happening behind there. Should we rip the holding tank out and check behind it?
Nope.
Nestor says he doesn't think so. He believes that there is this fiberglass lip here, and he thinks that all the moisture has gotten caught like up in that kind of 2 inches of insulation and area. Okay, so it would appear that we've averted the crisis. We cleaned out some like closed cell, probably spray foam that seemed to be back there for just about like 2 inches to fill a gap. And now we're just gonna let it all dry out for quite a few days, and Nestor will make a couple little pieces of wood that ended up being rotten and we needed to throw out. Seems like everything's okay and our bulkhead is good. Sounds nice and solid. We're gonna kind of move on, I think, to taking off the chain plates. Nestor seems pretty keen on doing that. Tomorrow probably we'll clean up all the toilet stuff and replace all of those hoses and maybe try and start putting things back together.